Well, welcome to day 3 of the cruise. Sitting here waiting for our historic Hobart Ferry tour, and a lovely little cafe just on the wharf. And let me just reverse the camera and I can show you the view. It's not spectacular, but it will be when we get on the ferry. Okay, so there's the view we're looking at. We're going to go out into the harbour there and have a look around. This is a lovely little, nice, cool, windy area, and that's the ferry we're going to be going aboard. So there we go, and next to us is the restaurant, and this little cafe addition is quite a pleasant little place to sit. This is inside the historic ferry. It's a lovely little cafe area and a lovely restored ferry. Not really able to go up the stairs at the moment, but yeah, there we are. And it's going to be our window that we're going to view out of. And at the moment all you see is the car park, but of course we'll have plenty of other things to see as we go further on the tour. And here we are pulling out of the harbour, and in the background is our ship. Arrived in on, and if I pan around, there we are, there's Hobart CBD, all 2 buildings. Now we're going to go right past our ship. There's the spoiler on the back, the Altitude nightclub where we have been. We did the sail away up there. It was very quiet, nobody there, so it was a great place to sit and relax. That's of course the harbour where all the Sydney Hobart logistic yachts pull in.
The area over here called Old Wharf, the original waterfront area of Hobart, where the first European settlement took place in 1804 under the command of Lieutenant Collins. There's an island over there called Hunter Island where they kept all their stored provisions away from the convicts, accessible at low tide by sandy spit, high tide by boat, later with a causeway up the island. Those buildings on the causeway later became the Henry Jones IXL jam factory. Employed about 1,000 people, making lovely canned fruits, jams, etc. under the banner of IXL. They sell the products they produced. Henry Jones was known for his efforts during the war years of Elizabeth Queen Mary came into Hobart to take on supplies to the troops and the camouflage painted on in Hobart. Cruise ships in port today. We have a record cruise ship season this season. 84 cruise ships coming into Hobart. 2 new ones are Disney Cruises and Virgin Cruises. I just see the look by Virgin Cruises just gone to the Sydney Harbour. You may not have heard, or you may have heard that 176 passengers got on a plane from Melbourne to Hobart. They were given a sailor's hat, and then Richard Branson came on to over the air and gave them all a free cruise on the Voyager to Hobart Cruise to New Zealand, which was worth $7,000 each.
Nice prize if you can get it. Yeah. So here's the front of our ship, the Pacific Adventure. One of the last remaining cruise ships with a full wraparound promenade deck. Goes right around the whole length of the ship. Although you do have to climb up and down a few stairs. Bridge deck up the top there, sticking out, and over the sides as well.
And we have the French Antarctic vessel, the Astronaut. Runs down the French base of Monteville. The French have been operating out of Hobart to Antarctica for 180 years. The English, which the Aussies took over from, and we fly the sides us down to Antarctica 4 1/4 hours during the summertime. Most of the exploration was done by Sir Douglas Mawson. Everybody talks about Hobart being close to Antarctica, but actually Perth, Western Australia, is 2 days closer by ship to the Australian bases. And what Hobart is operating out of Perth. They probably save a bit of money. Traditionally, politically, Hobart's always been the port Antarctic exploration. Up on the rise, the War Memorial 1926.
Just where we're here, that's Mount Wellington at the back there.
On the east coast of Tasmania, where he claimed the island for the Dutch, named it Van Diemen's Land after the governor of the time, Anthony Van Diemen, went on to discover New Zealand. The Dutch, they reached these lands, and after spice islands, they want to make a bit of money. They didn't return. After World War II, we had large influx of Dutch into Tasmania. They started the first supermarkets in Tasmania and quite a few flower farms. In Tasmania, we also grow 75% of the world's legal opium poppies, sanctioned by the United Nations. Production of morphine. Biggest regatta oversaw was in 1963 when the Royal Britannia came into Hobart. The late Duke of Edinburgh, Queen Elizabeth, on board the British aircraft carrier HMS Albion, a couple of American destroyers, 130,000 attended regatta that year. Down about 25,000 now. Regattas like shows in Tasmania lost their popularity.
And that is the
old
memorial.
HMS Huon closed down in 1994 to save the federal government $450,000 a year. They sold the building for $650, became a backpackers. Then the other one developed a hotel there. The state government said no, brought it back to $2.5 million. Supposed to be converted to whisky distillery. That's fallen through. Tasmania whisky now receives well acclaim, won many gold awards. Tasmania whisky. The main slipyards have taken ships up to 1,200 tonnes. Hobart's oldest boat building area. Because it was cheap, a suspension bridge would have been far superior, but as governments do, they took a cheap option, didn't do their homework very well, ended up costing more than what a suspension bridge would have done because of foundation problems. 3 pilots on the right as we go through, they drove 36 miles, 95 metres down into the mud, trying to find rock foundations, gave up at the end. This has been a roadway in Tasmania, 75,000 cars a day. Back in 1932, when they were building the Sydney Harbour Bridge, the company said to the Tasmanian government, we have all the jigs, patents and workers will come straight to Hobart. We'll build an identical bridge to Sydney Harbour for nothing. All we want is a lifetime toll on all the cars that go across. The government of days said no. Organised and engineered design a floating bridge and didn't know much about the weather conditions. They used to heave and pitch so bad in the southerlies you couldn't drive across them. I remember going across with my father in the car on several occasions. Waves would break over your car, the side panel smashed out regularly. 1965, majority of the old floating bridge towed out to sea at Scuttle. Casto, 1792, downhill for the French explorer La Perouse, who went missing in the South Pacific. John Fracasno spent 3 months charting our waterways, first European to circumnavigate mainland Australia. He ran out of water in Western Australia, came down here to take on fresh water. Unfortunately, he injured himself on the ship and passed away on his way back to France. He was sent out by the French royal family, and whilst he was away, the French Revolution took place, where they beheaded the King and Queen of France. Napoleon Bonaparte became the Emperor. Napoleon sent out Nicolas Baudin, who also extensively charted our waterways. On his way round Baudin, he collected 120 specimens of Australian wildlife, emus, wombats, kangaroos, lizards, etc. He became very ill, and the English nursed him for 6 months in Sydney. Unfortunately, also passed away on his way back to France. But 90 specimens of Australian wildlife survived Baudin's expedition and walked around the grounds at the Palace of Versailles, just outside Paris, with Empress Josephine. The main reason English came down here, they were very concerned about a French base under mainland Australia. In fact, Captain Bligh, who was the governor of New South Wales at the time, was ordered to close the penal settlement down at Norfolk Island, destroy it, and move the free settlers and convicts down here to boost the numbers against the French. And to entice the free settlers to move down here, they offered double what they had on Norfolk Island. If they refused, they were forced to be removed. Bligh carried out that order. On their arrival in Hobart, they went through a pretty tough time. The colony had trouble sustaining them. At that stage, we had more convicts in Tasmania. We had police, soldiers, and free settlers. Large background rivers of zinc works 1916. The zinc is mined west coast of Tasmania at Rosebery. Rail the burning ship round to Hobart and remove the zinc. Below that's the oil terminal. About the 3rd of January 1975, the Lake Illawarra, under the command of Captain Phelps, had taken on a load of zinc concentrate at Port Ferry in South Australia. Captain Phelps had a pilot exemption ticket, which meant he could bring his own ship in the port of Hobart through the bridge without a pilot. Now, it was just inside 2 years since he been in the port. As he steamed down the west coast of Tasmania, he sent a radio telegram through the Hobart Marine Board asking whether his certificate was still valid and did it require a pilot to take his ship through the bridge. They radioed back, "Your certificate's still valid, sir. No pilot required." As he steamed up the river, he came up the eastern shore, which we're now on. He should have been further over towards the west, and unbeknownst to Captain Phelps, a 9.5 knot current pushing down against the ship. And he slowed the ship down too much. He lost control or steerage way of the vessel. Realising it was out of control, he desperately tried to turn the ship, put on the rocks over here on the left-hand side. He sent more crew members to the bow to drop the anchors. Alas, on January the 5th, 1975, at 27 minutes past 9 on a Sunday night, light drizzly rain, the 10,000-ton bulk carrier Lake Illawarra, loaded with 10,000 tons of zinc concentrate, slammed into the Tasman Bridge, wiped out 2 pylons. A 150-metre section came crashing down on the bow of the ship. The ship sank in 5 minutes, killing 7 crew members on board and 5 members of the public, whose 4 cars plummeted over the edge of the bridge in the Dill River. Total loss of all lives. Like it was a Sunday night, could have been peak hour traffic time. Now the ships go through, they stop the cars either side, prevent the disaster being repeated. Takes about 3 minutes for a ship to pass under the bridge, so the cars aren't delayed very long. And the bridge was only 4 lanes wide during its reconstruction. Clipped the footpath on the outside of Clip-on, making it a 5-lane bridge. Had we had a Sydney Harbour Bridge or suspension bridges, disaster would not have happened. And the big issue is now the ships are getting bigger, but the gap in the middle's not. Quite a lot of the pilots are reluctant to take the large ships through. If they do go through, they're escorted by 2 tugs and quite often 2 pilots. As we pass under the new span, if you look above, you'll see it's made of steel. especially constructed steel from Japan, probably out of pressed out Toyotas. And the reason they use steel is because the width was bad. Couldn't put the pylon back that it used to be in the centre because of the hundreds of tons of bridge decking and roadway laying on the bottom. Now the bird on the pylon here on the left is an oyster catcher. And we're just passing over the top of the Lake Illawarra now, laying beneath us in 35 metres of water, 10 metres atop the ship, still fully laden with a cargo of zinc concentrate. Horseford removes the fuel oil. She's now at home some 7-gilled on tiger sharks, right about 3 metres in length. Just pick it up and liberty and toes. Couple of metres. Then we have the West Point Hotel Casino, the first casino in Australia. For a long time, the only one completely changed the liquor licensing and gambling laws throughout the country. The opening act on the 10th of February 1973 was the American comedian Jerry Lewis. In those days, you had to wear a dinner suit and evening out of it. Get the front door, pretty casual affair now. Top floor revolving restaurant, 1 hour 17 minutes, complete to the casino, panoramic views of the harbour. Yacht racing now, the Sydney to Hobart yacht race. Little buff colour building here on stilts. 3 flagpoles, staircase up the side is the finishing line to the 630 nautical mile race. You can tell your friends you've crossed the finishing line. But that's it again. Undefeated diesel without any sails up. These are the Marine Laboratories CSIRO. Up in between the gap of the watersheds, we have a White House, the old Harbour Masters home, 1863. And the Sandstone building, there's the old bomb store, 1835. Apartments up top, retail complex underneath.